Welcome back to our RBT Exam Prep series. And today in this video, we will practice 25 more practice questions based on real-life scenarios. Try answering before our explanation. Let's start doing questions together. Question number 1. During a session, the RBT observes that the client only screams when given difficult tasks. What is the most likely function of the behavior? A. Automatic. B. Attention. C. Escape. D. Tangible. The correct answer is C. Escape. Screaming that happens specifically when a task is presented often suggests that the client is trying to avoid or escape that demand. It is a clear sign the behavior is being maintained by negative reinforcement. In this case, task removal. Now for the wrong answers. A is incorrect because automatic behaviors are maintained by internal stimulation, and they usually occur without any external triggers. B is not right either, since attention-seeking behavior happens when someone is trying to get a social response, which is not the case here. D is wrong because tangible behaviors aim to get access to an object or activity, but this behavior appears only during task demands. Only escape explains why the behavior is triggered during difficult tasks. That's why option C is the best fit in this question. Question number 2. The RBT sets a timer for every 10 minutes and delivers reinforcement if the client is not engaging in self-injury at the moment the timer goes off. What measurement and intervention are being used? A. Momentary time sampling and DRO. B. Partial interval and DRA. C. Whole interval and NCR. D. Latency and positive punishment. The correct answer is A. Momentary time sampling and DRO. Momentary time sampling checks whether a behavior occurs at the end of a set interval. In this case, if self-injury is not happening when the timer sounds, the client is reinforced. That makes it a clear example of differential reinforcement of other behavior, or DRO. B is incorrect because partial interval recording looks at whether the behavior occurred at any time during the interval, not just at the end. DRA also focuses on reinforcing an alternative behavior, which is not the focus here. C is not correct because the whole interval requires the behavior to be absent for the full interval. And NCR means delivering reinforcement regardless of behavior. D is wrong since latency measures how long it takes for a behavior to begin after a prompt. And positive punishment adds an aversive stimulus, which is not happening here. Question number 3. A client is taught to tie their shoes by teaching all steps in each session and prompting only when needed. This approach is A. Forward chaining. B. Backward chaining. C. Total task chaining. D. Task analysis. The correct answer is C. Total task chaining. With total task chaining, the client practices the full sequence of steps during each session, with prompts provided as needed. This method helps the learner experience the whole routine and gradually become more independent. Now for the wrong answers. A is not right because forward chaining introduces one step at a time, starting from the beginning, and the learner only moves on after mastering each step. B is incorrect since backward chaining teaches the final step first and works backward through the sequence. D is not a teaching method. Task analysis is the process of breaking down the task into smaller parts to support strategies like chaining, but it's not an approach by itself. Question number 4. An RBT presents a demand, then models the correct response for the client to imitate. What type of prompt is being used? A. Physical prompt. B. Verbal prompt. C. Gestural prompt. D. Model prompt. The correct answer is D. Model prompt. A model prompt is when the RBT shows the correct behavior for the client to copy. This helps the learner see exactly what to do and then imitate the action. Now for the wrong answers. A is wrong because physical prompts involve physically guiding the client's movement, such as hand-over-hand support. B is not correct since verbal prompts are spoken directions and do not include demonstration. C is also incorrect. Gestural prompts involve motions like pointing or nodding, but they do not model the full behavior, so a model prompt is the right answer that involves visually showing the correct action for the client to imitate. Question number 5. During a preference assessment, the client is presented with an array of items and is asked to pick one. After selection, the item is replaced and all items are reshuffled. This type of assessment is a free operant. B. MSU. C. MSW. D. Paired stimulus. The correct answer is C. MSW, which stands for multiple stimulus with replacement. In MSW assessments, the chosen item is put back into the array before the next trial. This allows the client to pick from the same group each time, and their preferences can be clearly tracked over repeated selections. Now for the wrong answers. A is not correct because free operant assessments allow the client to explore items freely, and the amount of time they spend with each item is recorded, not structured choices. B is wrong because in MSWO, or multiple stimulus without replacement, the selected item is removed after each choice, which changes the array each round. D is incorrect since paired stimulus assessments present only 2 items at a time and ask the client to choose between them. Question number 6. The RBT notices the client flaps hands when left alone. The behavior provides sensory stimulation. What is the function? A. Escape. B. Attention. C. Automatic. D. Tangible. The correct answer is C. Automatic. Automatic reinforcement happens when the behavior itself produces a satisfying or stimulating effect without any involvement from others. In this case, the hand flapping occurs when the client is alone, suggesting that it serves a sensory or self-soothing purpose. Now for the wrong answers. A is not correct because escape behaviors occur in response to demands or aversive situations, which are not present here. B is wrong since attention-seeking behavior requires someone else to react to the behavior. D is incorrect because tangible reinforcement involves accessing an item or activity, which is not happening in this situation. Question number 7. A client is asked, "What color is the apple?" and responds red. This type of verbal operant is mend, B. Tact, C. Echoic, D. Intraverbal. The correct answer is D. Intraverbal. An intraverbal is a verbal response to a verbal stimulus, where the response is not a repetition and there is no nonverbal stimulus present. Answering the question, what color is the apple? With red as an example because the client is not seeing the apple, only responding to the spoken question. Now for the wrong answers. A is incorrect because a mand involves a request, usually based on a want or need, and that is not the case here. B is not right because a tact involves labeling something that is present in the environment, and the apple is not visually present here. C is wrong because echoic responses are direct repetitions of what someone else just said, which this is not. Therefore, only intraverbal fits a verbal question and answer exchange like this. Question number 8. The RBT consistently provides tokens after every 3 correct responses. This is a variable interval, B. Fixed interval, C. Variable ratio, D. Fixed ratio. The correct answer is D. Fixed ratio. A fixed ratio schedule means reinforcement is delivered after a set number of responses. Here, tokens are given every 3 correct answers, which matches the definition exactly. Now for the wrong answers. A is incorrect because variable interval schedules depend on time passing, not on the number of responses. B is wrong since fixed intervals also involves time, not how many times the behavior occurs. C is not right because a variable ratio provides reinforcement after an unpredictable number of responses. Question number 9. A client consistently matches the word car with a car picture. What procedure is the RBT using? Receptive identification. B. Listener response. C. visual matching. D, intraverbal. The correct answer is C, visual matching. Visual matching involves identifying and matching pictures or symbols. In this case, the client sees the word car and selects the picture that represents it, which is a visual match-to-sample task. Now for the wrong answers. A is incorrect because receptive identification usually involves following spoken instructions, like touch car, not reading a word. B is not correct either, as listener responses focus on reacting to spoken language, not matching visual symbols. D is wrong since intraverbals are verbal responses to verbal stimuli and involve no matching of visual items. Question number 10. The RBT uses a timer and marks an interval if the behavior occurred at any time during that interval. This recording method is A, whole interval, B, momentary time sampling, C, partial interval, D, frequency. The correct answer is C, partial interval. Partial interval recording means the observer marks the interval if the behavior occurred at any point during that time frame. It does not matter how long the behavior lasted, just whether it happened at all. Now for the wrong answers. A is incorrect because the whole interval requires the behavior to last throughout the entire interval to be recorded. B is not correct since momentary time sampling checks whether the behavior is happening at the exact moment the interval ends. D is wrong because frequency recording counts how many times a behavior happens, not whether it occurs within a time frame. Only a partial interval fits the description of noting behavior if it happens at any time during the interval. So option C is the right pick. Question number 11. A client screams to get access to a toy. The RBT teaches the client to request the toy using PECs. This is an example of tact training. B, functional communication training. C, DRO. D, DRE. The correct answer is B, functional communication training. Functional communication training, or FCT, involves teaching a more appropriate way to meet the same need that the problem behavior previously met. In this case, the client learns to use PECs to request a toy instead of screaming. Now for the wrong answers. A is not correct because tact training teaches labeling items in the environment, not requesting them. C is wrong since DRO means reinforcing the absence of a behavior, not teaching a replacement. D is incorrect because DRI reinforces behaviors that cannot occur at the same time as the problem behavior, but it does not specifically teach communication. Question number 12. When teaching a child to wash hands, the RBT reinforces completion of the first step and then moves to the next. This is called A, forward chaining. B, backward chaining. C, shaping. D, task analysis. The correct answer is A, forward chaining. Forward chaining introduces the task one step at a time, beginning with the first step. Once the child learns that step, the next step is taught, and so on until the entire sequence is mastered. Now for the wrong answers. B is not correct because backward chaining starts with the last step and teaches in reverse. C is wrong since shaping builds a new behavior gradually by reinforcing closer approximations, not by teaching a sequence. D is incorrect because task analysis is the process of breaking a task into smaller steps. It supports chaining, but is not the method of teaching itself. Question number 13. During DTT, a student responds incorrectly. The RBT repeats the instruction, immediately prompts the correct response, then represents the SD without a prompt. What is this? O, shaping. B, transfer trial. C, error correction. D, fading. The correct answer is C, error correction. This method is known as error correction, where after an incorrect response, the RBT provides a prompt to ensure the correct response is performed. The instruction is then repeated to give the student another chance to respond correctly without prompting. Now for the wrong answers. A is incorrect because shaping involves reinforcing closer approximations to a behavior, not correcting errors. B is not the best choice here. Transfer trials are used to move from prompted to unprompted responses, but do not fully describe the correction process. D is wrong since fading is about gradually removing prompts, not correcting incorrect responses. Question number 14. An RBT observes the time between two instances of hitting. This is A. Inter-response time. B. Latency. C. Frequency. D. Duration. The correct answer is A. Inter-response time. Inter-response time, or IRT, is the amount of time between two separate instances of a behavior. Measuring the time between hits fits this definition exactly. Now for the wrong answers. B is incorrect because latency is the time between a prompt and when the behavior starts, not the gap between behaviors. C is wrong since frequency counts how many times a behavior occurs, not how far apart those instances are. D is not correct because duration refers to how long a single behavior lasts. Question number 15. A client touches the correct object after a full verbal prompt. What level of independence is this? Independent. B. Modeled. C. Full prompt. D. Partial prompt. The correct answer is C. Full prompt. When a client responds correctly only after a full verbal prompt is given, it means they are not responding independently and require complete assistance. That indicates a full prompt level. Now for the wrong answers. A is incorrect because independence means no prompting is needed. B is not the best fit here. Modeled prompting involves showing the behavior visually, not using verbal instructions. D is wrong because a partial prompt provides only part of the assistance, such as starting the instruction but not finishing it. Question number 16. A client earns access to a break after 10 minutes of on-task behavior. This is an example of A. Fixed interval schedule. B. Fixed ratio schedule. C. Variable interval schedule. D. Variable ratio schedule. The correct answer is A. Fixed interval schedule. In a fixed interval schedule, reinforcement is delivered after a consistent, set amount of time has passed. As long as the behavior is occurring, in this case, the client earns a break after 10 minutes, which clearly matches this schedule. Now for the wrong answers. B is incorrect because a fixed ratio schedule provides reinforcement after a set number of responses, not after a period of time. C is wrong since a variable interval schedule delivers reinforcement after unpredictable time intervals, not fixed ones. D is not correct because variable ratio schedules are based on an unpredictable number of responses, which doesn't apply here. Only a fixed interval schedule fits the example of reinforcement after a consistent time duration. Question number 17. The RBT observes that the client hits more intensely when placed on extinction. This is known as A. Functional relationship. B. Latency. C. Extinction burst. D. Negative reinforcement. The correct answer is C. Extinction burst. An extinction burst refers to the temporary increase in the frequency or intensity of a behavior when the reinforcement for that behavior is first removed. This is a common and expected part of the extinction process. Now for the wrong answers. A is incorrect because a functional relationship describes the connection between behavior and its consequence, not a sudden spike in behavior. B is not right because latency is the time between a prompt and when a behavior begins and has nothing to do with intensity. D is wrong because negative reinforcement involves removing something unpleasant to increase behavior, which is the opposite of extinction. Question number 18. A child refuses to touch objects during a receptive task. The RBT physically guides the child's hand. This is A. Echoic. B. Shaping. C. Physical prompt. D. Gestural prompt. The correct answer is C. Physical prompt. A physical prompt means the RBT uses hand-over-hand guidance or other direct physical support to help the learner perform the task. This is often used when the child does not respond to less intrusive prompts. Now for the wrong answers. A is incorrect because echoic behavior involves repeating spoken words, and there is no vocal imitation here. B is not the right choice, since shaping involves reinforcing successive approximations toward a target behavior, not guiding movements directly. D is wrong because gestural prompts involve pointing or nodding, not physically touching the learner. So option C, physical prompting, involves direct contact to guide behavior. Question number 19. The client claps hands after the RBT claps. This is A, men, B, echoic, C, intraverbal, D, tact. The correct answer is B, echoic. Echoic behavior involves imitation of a verbal or physical action that matches the model. In this case, the client copies the RBT's clapping, making it an example of echoic behavior. Now for the wrong answers. A is incorrect because amend is a request for something the person wants or needs. C is not right. Intraverbals are responses to verbal stimuli that do not match in form, like answering a question. D is wrong because a tact involves labeling something seen, heard, or experienced in the environment. So echoic fits the situation of copying another person's behavior. Question number 20. The RBT is helping a client generalize a skill by practicing with different people and in different environments. What is this called? Discrimination training. B, generalization. C, maintenance. D, prompt fading. The correct answer is B, generalization. Generalization means the behavior that was learned in one setting or with one person is now occurring across different settings, people, or stimuli. Practicing in various environments helps ensure the skill is truly learned and usable in real life. Now for the wrong answers. A is incorrect because discrimination training is about teaching the difference between stimuli, not expanding the use of a skill. C is wrong since maintenance focuses on keeping a skill over time, not applying it in new places. D is not correct because prompt fading involves reducing assistance, not changing people or settings. Question number 21. A session plan includes teaching the child to use a spoon. The skill is new. The skill is in maintenance. B, acquisition. C, generalization. D, extinction. The correct answer is B, acquisition. Acquisition refers to the phase where a learner is just beginning to learn a new skill. In this case, since the child is just starting to learn to use a spoon, the behavior is in the acquisition stage. Now for the wrong answers. A is incorrect because maintenance refers to skills that are already learned and are being practiced to retain them. C is not the right answer since generalization applies when a skill is used in new settings or with new people. D is wrong because extinction involves stopping reinforcement to reduce a behavior, not learning a new one. Only acquisition reflects a skill being introduced for the first time. Question number 22. A client independently greets a peer after being taught to do so. What has likely occurred? A, maintenance. B, prompt dependence. C, generalization. D, stimulus fading. The correct answer is C, generalization. Generalization occurs when a learned behavior is used in a new setting, with new people, or in a different situation. Here, the child was taught to greet and is now doing it naturally with peers, showing the skill has generalized. Now for the wrong answers. A is incorrect because maintenance focuses on continued performance over time, but not necessarily in new contexts. B is wrong because prompt dependence means the client relies on assistance, which is not the case here. D is not the right answer because stimulus fading is about gradually changing cues used in teaching, not applying the skill in new situations. Only generalization in option C fits this scenario. Question number 23. Which action maintains the professional boundary of an RBT? O, accepting gifts. B, Discussing personal beliefs. C. Only discussing clients with supervisors. D. Becoming friends on social media. The correct answer is C. Only discussing clients with supervisors. RBTs must maintain confidentiality and professionalism. Sharing client information only with supervisors helps protect client privacy and ensures ethical communication within the treatment team. Now for the wrong answers. A is not appropriate because accepting gifts from clients or families can create a conflict of interest. B is wrong since personal discussions can blur professional boundaries and may not be relevant to therapy. D is also incorrect, as forming personal relationships online can compromise professionalism, so choosing option C demonstrates appropriate professional behavior. Question number 24. A parent requests that the RBT use a new method, not in the treatment plan. What should the RBT do? A. Implement it immediately. B. Ignore the parent. C. Consult the supervising BCBA. D. Agree with the parent. The correct answer is C. Consult the supervising BCBA. RBTs are required to follow the treatment plan developed by the supervising behavior analyst. If a parent makes a new request, the RBT must refer the matter to the BCBA to ensure all changes are clinically appropriate and documented. Now for the wrong answers. A is not acceptable because RBTs cannot make treatment decisions on their own. B is incorrect. While the RBT shouldn't act independently, ignoring the parent dismisses a valid concern. D is wrong because agreeing without BCBA approval risks delivering unapproved treatment. Only C aligns with ethical practice and proper supervision. Question number 25. During a preference assessment, the client explores items freely. Time spent with each item is recorded. What assessment is this? A. Free operant. B. MSWO. C. MSW. D. Paired stimulus. The correct answer is A. Free operant. A free operant preference assessment allows the client to interact with available items without restriction, and observers record how long the client engages with each item. This helps identify what the client prefers naturally. Now for the wrong answers. B is not correct because MSWO involves structured choices from an array and removes selected items. C is wrong since MSW keeps items in the array after each choice, but still uses controlled selection. D is incorrect because paired stimulus presents 2 items at a time, not free access. So free operant is the only method that lets the client explore freely and tracks duration of interaction. And that's all 25 questions we solved today. To have more practice, visit our website for extra free RBT-style test questions. If you're finding these sessions helpful, be sure to like the video and subscribe so you don't miss future lessons.